Imagine Los Angeles, 1947, a city shocked by a gruesome discovery. In the limelight of this horror was a young woman named Elizabeth Short, a woman who would become known to the world as the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth's life was as enigmatic as her death. A Boston native who moved to California in pursuit of fame and fortune, her life was cut short in the most horrific way. Her body was found in a vacant lot, severed in half and drained of all blood. The chilling precision of the act suggested a killer with a macabre sense of artistry. And then, there were the cryptic clues. The killer toyed with the police, sending packages containing Elizabeth's belongings. Despite the horror, despite the clues, and despite extensive investigation, the identity of the killer remains unknown. And so the Black Dahlia case remains a haunting, unsolved mystery. Now let's travel across the United States, where a painted smiley face marks the scene of an unnerving pattern of deaths. A peculiar and chilling phenomenon has been unfolding over the years. College-aged men, all seemingly healthy and full of life, have been found dead near bodies of water. But it's not the water that has investigators scratching their heads. It's the painted smiley face that appears nearby each time. It's as if the killer, or killers, is mocking us, leaving their signature with a sense of pride. Theories are abundant, from a serial killer on the loose to a network of murderers operating across the country. Yet despite the consistent pattern, law enforcement has yet to crack the case. Is it the work of a serial killer with a morbid sense of humor, or could there be a more sinister explanation? The question remains, coincidence or calculated murders? The year is 1980, a woman disappears from a parking lot and a chilling phone call follows. This is the haunting tale of Dorothy Jane Scott. A young single mother, Dorothy vanished without a trace from a hospital parking lot. The mystery deepens as, following her disappearance, her family starts receiving unnerving phone calls from an unidentified man claiming to have her. These calls, filled with cryptic messages and cruel taunts, would continue for 4 agonizing years. Despite exhaustive investigations and numerous appeals to the public, the identity of the caller and Dorothy's whereabouts remained elusive. The calls ended as abruptly as they began, leaving the family in a state of perpetual uncertainty. The case of Dorothy Jane Scott is a chilling enigma that continues to perplex investigators and true crime enthusiasts alike. The lack of leads, the eerie phone calls, and the enduring mystery of her fate make this one of the most unsettling, unsolved mysteries. Her fate tragically remains a mystery. Fast forward to 1991, 4 teenagers, a yogurt shop in Austin, and a night of horror. In the heart of Texas, an unthinkable atrocity unfolded. Amy Ayers, Jennifer Harbison, Sarah Harbison, and Eliza Thomas, all vibrant and full of life, were brutally murdered in a yogurt shop where 2 of them worked. The details of that night are chilling. The girls were bound, gagged, and shot execution style. The shop was then set ablaze in an apparent attempt to destroy evidence. The investigation was extensive, with over 50 people confessing to the crime, but none could provide details that weren't already public information. Despite tireless efforts from law enforcement and multiple arrests over the years, the case has taken one twist after another, leaving more questions than answers. The shock and mystery surrounding the case remain, leaving a community forever scarred and a haunting memory that lingers. Decades later, the Austin yogurt shop murders remain unsolved. Now, imagine a quiet Illinois town in 1987, shocked by an unthinkable family tragedy. The Dardeen family, living an unassuming life, were brutally murdered in a manner that still sends shivers down the spine. Keith, his pregnant wife Elaine, and their 3-year-old son Peter were found beaten to death. Elaine was found to have given birth during the attack, the newborn also a victim of this heinous act. A serial killer on death row, Tommy Lynn Sells, confessed to the murders. Yet discrepancies in his account raised questions. He claimed to have shot Keith, but autopsy reports showed the cause of death to be blunt force trauma. Did he really commit the crime, or was he a scapegoat? Despite the confession, the case remains shrouded in mystery. What was the motive? Why was this family targeted? And why did the details of the crime contradict the confession? The Dardeen family murders, a chilling mystery that remains unsolved. The late 1960s California, a serial killer taunts authorities with cryptic letters. A wave of fear gripped the Golden State as the Zodiac killer embarked on a murderous spree, leaving a trail of victims in his wake. This enigmatic figure claimed responsibility for at least 5 murders between December 1968 and October 1969, although he boasted of many more. His modus operandi was as chilling as it was unique. After each murder, he would send cryptic letters to local newspapers, each one containing a complex cipher, a twisted puzzle for the authorities to solve. These letters, while offering potential clues, only deepened the mystery surrounding his identity. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror abruptly ended, but his shadow lingered, casting a pall over the annals of American crime. Despite the tireless efforts of law enforcement and amateur sleuths alike, his true identity remains unknown, a cipher in itself. The Zodiac Killer, a name synonymous with unsolved mysteries. 1948, an Australian beach, an unidentified man, a mysterious code, and an unsolved mystery. This is the Tame and Shud case, also known as the Somerton Man mystery. A well-dressed man is found lifeless on Somerton Beach, South Australia, with no identification, no obvious cause of death, baffling investigators. But the real curveball? A concealed pocket sewn within the man's trouser holds a scrap of paper reading, Tom and Shud, translating to ended or finished in Persian. Further investigation uncovers a car near the crime scene with a concealed compartment, inside of which is a strange book. The book contains a cipher, a series of letters arranged in a way that suggests a secret message. Despite the best efforts of cryptographers and codebreakers around the globe, this code remains uncracked, the book's secret unread, and the identity of the Somerton Man unknown. More than 70 years later, we're left with only questions. The Tom and Shud case, a mystery that continues to baffle the world. 1988, a Polaroid photo, a bound woman, and a missing person. In the quiet town of Belen, New Mexico, 19-year-old Tara Calico bid farewell to her mother, setting off on a bike ride she'd never return from. A year later, a haunting Polaroid surfaced in a Florida parking lot, depicting a bound and gagged woman bearing an uncanny resemblance to Tara. Theories swirled as investigators dived into the case. Some suggested it was a cruel prank, others a chilling cry for help. Despite the fervor, the leads went cold and the case slipped into the annals of unsolved mysteries. As the years turned into decades, Tara's case sparked renewed interest. New leads surfaced, old ones were revisited, and yet, the mystery endured. Tara's mother held on to the hope of seeing her daughter again, but she passed away in 2006. Her daughter's fate still unknown. Tara Calico's fate, sadly, remains elusive. Imagine walking along a beach in British Columbia only to come across a shoe, inside, a human foot. This isn't the plot of a horror movie but a real-life mystery that has been unfolding since 2007. Over the years, severed human feet encased in shoes have been washing ashore along the coast of British Columbia, Canada. The mystery has baffled investigators, scientists, and the public alike. To date, more than a dozen detached feet have been discovered. Some suggest these might be the remains of victims of plane or boat accidents, while others theorize they could be the work of a serial killer. But there's a third theory, that ocean currents carry the feet from as far as Asia. It's a mystery that defies easy explanation. The only common factor? They're all wearing shoes which help the feet float and protect them from decomposition. The severed feet mystery, an enigma that continues to perplex. 1957 Philadelphia. A cardboard box, a young boy, and a mystery that endures. On a chilly February day, a young boy's body was found discarded in a cardboard box, forever branded as the boy in the box. Despite the efforts of numerous investigators, the boy's identity remains a mystery. His face, a haunting echo of innocence lost, was circulated across the nation in the hope that someone, somewhere might recognize him, but no one did. Theories abounded, as did suspects. Yet each lead reached a dead end. The case, as cold as the day the boy was found, leaves us with more questions than answers. Who was this child? How did he end up in that box? Most importantly, who took his life? Despite the passage of over 6 decades, the answers remain elusive. The boy in the box, a tragic mystery that remains unsolved.